Okay, now we are on the step 4, which is the last and final step of our self-portrait. At this point, you should have traced or outlined your photograph. So you should have outlined, then you flipped it on the back, you've traced it to your project paper, and now you've colored it. And the last step is to add our water so that we blend our colors and give it a watercolor effect. Now, you're going to have several brush options. Well, first, let me start with, it's very important to keep clean water because you're going to want fresh water every time you change colors. So, have one side for dirty water, which is where you'll rinse the brush, and then one side for fresh water for where you'll add new water to your paper. You've got 4 brush sizes. You have a tiny brush, a small brush, medium brush, and large. I'm going to advise you not to use the large unless you have a really big area, so why don't we just put him away. Tiny brush is good, but it doesn't quite give you enough water, so I'm going to say we're going to use the small and medium brushes the most. Alright, let's get started. So, first, let's start with our face. Now, I'm going to start with the medium brush. I'm going to get some water. Starting with my yellow, I'm just kind of going to spread the water around. Now look, getting to his hairline where we've got blue. You want to be very careful because you don't want that blue coming into your face. You don't want a green face. Now see how I've added the water and the marker's starting to come off the page? Let's keep going with our yellow. I'm going to get a little more water. So let's keep going, and we're kind of spreading our yellow out. Now you want to make it go in different directions because the whole point is you're trying to blend. You're trying to make this look like watercolor. It's okay that it's getting into the orange because we're actually going to use the orange in a minute. But just in your sections of yellow, start kind of laying down that water. Be liberal with the water, just not too liberal. Okay? Now that I've kind of got my yellow where I want it to go, I want to grab more water. And now I want to start blending my orange. So see how I'm kind of pushing the brush along, pushing that ink. Yes, it's mixing in with my yellow, but I want it to mix in. I want this to blend. I don't want you to be able to see the actual marker strokes if possible. Oh, very carefully using the very tip of my brush. I'm going to go right there. Remember, we don't want to hit the eyebrows or his eye because we don't want a green face. Slightly go around his lips. So I'm just blending in, making it look like it's a watercolor. So keep going. Oh, look at that. Add some more water every now and then. Okay, remember, be very careful when you come over to the ears and the edges. Because we don't want a green face. No green faces. Alright, make sure you're filling in all those white spots. We don't want white spots. Remember, we don't like white spots. Oop, I missed one by the eye. Oh, look at that. Okay, so now we've got those values, those lights and darks that we saw in our original photograph. We're going to finish this out. I need to clean my brush, get some fresh water, start with my yellow, and we're going to finish this out with the neck. So kind of make the neck blend together. Let's get a little more water, make it come together. Color very carefully along the edges, remember. So just kind of wipe around. You want to push that ink around your paper. Alright, so easy peasy. Now, let's do our hair. Word of advice, grab some water, start in the middle, and go to the edges. Because remember, again, we don't want this blue to spread. We don't want to make a green face. So just very carefully. See how I'm using the very tip of my brush? See, very, very tip. And I still got plenty of water right now. Need a little bit of water, not much. Just a little. Very nice. Oh no, see? I got too much water there, and I've got a bleed. So if you get a bleed, what I would advise you to do is get a paper towel and kind of soak it up. See? Soak it up. And I would get a fresh brush and kind of blend it in best you can. There we go. Just leave it alone. See, I got too much water there. So just soak it up. Alright, I would get, this is where I would use the very small brush. So get some water, very, very carefully. Spread out the blue in his eyebrows. Do the same thing. You don't want to color the whites of his eyes. So just very carefully. Alright. Now, we're going to do the same thing to finish off his shirt. Clean your brush very well. Get rid of the excess water. Get fresh water. And now I'm just going to, since the purple is darker than the green, I'm going to do purple first. Kind of spread it around very carefully. Go. And it's okay. These can blend some because remember, we're trying to make it look like a watercolor. So it's okay. Then I would do, see, so I'm just kind of blending, kind of making it, yeah. There we go. All right, let's finish out the other side. Okay, be very careful that you're not dripping water when you dip your paintbrush, because if so, you're going to end up with water spots on your paper, and you don't want that. Okay, be very careful at this neck. Try not to get too much water. See, move the ink around. There we go. Move it around. Okay. Now, we are done almost. You would do the same thing for my background. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush because I've got little squares. So, I would take my brush and then like we did with the contour shoes, because see, and so now I'm just kind of moving that pigment around using the water. And I would do this until every so often you want to clean that water. You want fresh water. Don't forget that when you switch colors. So I would do, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you weren't on camera. So, see how I'm kind of doing all my greens at one time. So do all of the same color at one time. Then I would rinse my brush really good, get fresh water, do all my purples together. So then it's purple time. And I do all my purple squares and so forth until I had completed all of my squares. Once you've completed all of your squares, you should have what looks like a watercolor pop art self-portrait. The final step you want to do is you want to get the black permanent marker, and down here in the bottom right hand corner if you're right, or the bottom left hand corner if you're a lefty, and you want to put your artist's signature, whatever that may be. My artist signature is A. Sullivan. I chose a long time ago to go with my first initial and my last name. You may want to do just your last name. You may want to do just your first name. You may just want to do your first name with your last initial. You may just want to do initials. It is up to you. This is your artist signature. This is how you should sign all of your artworks. Alright, so then once you have your completed pop art watercolor self-portrait, take a photograph, submit it into Canvas to be graded, and then place your portrait on the drying rack to dry. And that is that.